Hey, let's talk about async await. Your JavaScript code is 10 times slower than it should be, and you don't know why. Right now, you are probably doing this unreadable, unmaintainable, and messy to debug. First, let's make it better with async await. Async await is a pattern that makes it easier to work with asynchronous code. Now, this is easy to read and debug. Now, let's make it faster but with a different example. In the new example, you can see there are multiple API calls like config to get the config to get base permissions, users permissions, and the data. So now we'll make it faster. Now in the final implementation of the function, we would bifurcate the API calls based on their dependencies. So what does it mean? If the API call does not have any dependencies on the results of another API, then we would be calling it independently like config. And if they are dependent on the results of another API, let's say authenticate user or load user permission and load user data, we would be calling it in parallel but after the individual APIs are successful. So finally you can get something in this structure. So in this implementation, and you might be thinking why this can be faster. So let's see. So in this implementation, when config would be loading and it would require, let's say 2 seconds, all of the others would be loading, and same would be for each. So the time would start adding when each API call is made. While in the optimized implementation, the first would require 2 seconds, but when we run things in parallel, it would reduce the time at as both of the API calls would be called in parallel and not one by one. That's how you improve the speed of your JavaScript application. Thank you.